Well, we finally just got done with the ARMS Global Test Punch, and by we, I mean myself, Dan, and also Alex.
Hello.
And I guess we'll probably just go straight into this because at the end of the day, it's not a beta, it's like a stress test for your online. The game's basically, the game's done. Like the press already have the full game in their hands, but obviously us peasants have the global test punch to go guess our opinion. So we'll go straight in with it. What do we actually think of ARMS? And I guess I'll just say that I really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to playing ARMS already, but this to me, I think it sold me on ARMS. I guess is my point.
I'm completely with you on that because when ARMS was first announced during the January Switch presentation, I was more indifferent to it, as in it looked cool, but because it was like a new franchise, a new IP, I didn't really have anything to connect it with, so I was thinking, wait and see more about it. As the months led up to it, the characters looked over-the-top designs of Overwatch, how fun they are, and ARMS was kind of giving me those vibes when I was looking at some previews, but it was the ARMS Direct in the middle of May that really sold me on ARMS a lot more than before.
Yeah.
Primarily because of the modes and of us seeing more of how it plays, and seeing a few more characters definitely helps.
For me, this was the first time me playing the game, and I'm sure like most people, I started off with the motion controls and played for the entirety of my first batch on the test punch, which I still think this is a dumb thing. I don't know why Nintendo do this. I get the idea maybe of getting everyone to go online at one specific point, but it's just annoying having these set times because, one of them's 1 AM. Like for us, I know it's a global thing, so why do that? I still don't get it. Did it for Splatoon. I guess because it worked for Splatoon, they feel like they want to do it again for ARMS. Nintendo likes to do their own things a lot of times. When it comes to online stuff, it's like as if they're completely tone deaf to what everyone else is doing, especially when it comes to the voice chat with Splatoon. And I just think I don't really get why they just didn't, here's the weekend. The weekend from this point to this point, you can play as much as you want.
I mean, I see the global test punch as well as the global test fight to be some sort of a steady way for who has some interest in these games like Splatoon or ARMS to try out for themselves. And the difference is because with usual demos, you play a campaign level or you play a preset stage, but for something like the global test punch, you're playing against actual opponents and real people online for about an hour, so it gives you a taste of what the actual meat of the content is. And because Splatoon and ARMS is multiplayer based, playing with real people will give one the true sense of what it could actually be like. So in that sense, I think it is a more true to form demo to showcase what those games are, but I am a bit mixed on how the times are handled.
I do like the way that it's set up though with the actual online lobbies, for example. I think that I've never played a fighting game where you're straight into a fight as quick as this. I just love the way the lobbies work. They're so simple. Just find you a match straight away, you load straight in. I had a couple of connection issues, and by connection issues it literally would just maybe the match would end, the opponent would just drop out, but there wasn't any lag. There wasn't any time where I would punch someone and it wouldn't register.
Yeah, I mean, truth be told, of the 3 test punches that I participated in for the full hour, I only ever had a disconnection twice, and that was only on the first one I did.
The only thing that annoys me with these times is if they do want to do these times thing, fine. But when you first start the game up, it gives you that
a tutorial.
Yeah, it gives you a tutorial. It tells you here's the buttons and here's how to do it. I don't get why you can't do that at any point. So in between the downtimes of this test punch, why they don't give you this option. But I guess I'm nitpicking at stuff that's not there. Maybe we should just go on to the things that is there, which is the game itself. I was not expecting that this test punch to have as many modes. I thought it would just be one-on-one, that would be it. I like that there's enough characters for this. It gives you enough stages and it gives you various modes. I really liked the 2v2 mode. I really liked the hoops mode. I sucked at it. I wasn't that great at it.
Yeah,
the best way to play the hoops is being a nimble character, to be honest.
And the most recent test punch, which was the very last one with Twintel in it, I don't remember seeing the volleyball game whatsoever, and that was in the first test punch. There were some new modes to compensate, I think it was the boss battle with 3 players on one big boss, and then there was the basketball one, and then there was the target practice, which you have enough modes to get a taste on it. So it's not just the fighting; you also use your reflexes and skills on the arms characters for different circumstances. So the test punch isn't just fighting itself, it's the other modes that might appeal to to others.
For context, I actually only played the second weekend. I was away elsewhere for the first weekend. I was a bit gutted that I couldn't play it, but I was pleased that they had a second weekend for the test punch. Because I never actually played the volleyball one. I didn't realise the volleyball one was actually in the other one, which is actually a bit annoying because I wish I'd played that one. But what do you think of the controls?
On my first test punch, I just went straight to the Pro Controller because even though I got a sense that the motion control controls would work. They just didn't really seem like my sort of play style to dive into it, so I just went straight to the Pro Controller, and it immediately clicked with me on how to do the dodges, how to punch at the right times. Or now on the second test punch, I did try out the motion controls, but I didn't play them for very long because even though I do believe the motion controls worked fine for me, again, it just wasn't the same feel, so I just went straight back to the Pro Controller, and I won most of my matches that way.
So I was the flip side to you. I started off with the motion controls. You know, the game's been built around the motion controls. That's what the main driving force for this game is. That's what they're selling it as. So I played with the motion controls. I found they were enjoyable, but they were just, to me, just too inaccurate. And also the moving left and right with the didn't feel as intuitive as just using an analog stick. I understand that it's difficult to hold the analog stick at that point. I liked it. I wasn't playing that well with them though, and I was getting a little bit frustrated. And then I went to the Pro Controller. First of all, when it shows you the buttons for the Pro Controller mode, it shows A and B a punch, left and right punch, and I'm just like, oh, that seems dumb. Why can't I use the triggers? So I played the first couple of matches just A and B. Then afterwards, I was like, why can't I just use the triggers? And I pressed it in the practice mode in between each match, the shoulder buttons, and they punched left and right. And I thought, wait, why did that not tell me that was punch left and right in the controls? So that was a bit weird. Yeah. But once I actually figured that out and actually used that, I started winning matches like all the time. And I just, like you say with you, it just clicked. I get the idea and why people might like the motion controls, and I find it strange how people said that they prefer the motion controls, because the only thing that people have said is that you don't get the accuracy of like twisting punches without the motion controls, but you can use the analog sticks to do that basically.
I thought the motion controls was going to be what was built for ARMS because of how, you know, what it would be based around, and the Pro Controller being an afterthought. Yeah, because how Nintendo has a tendency to, in some games they could be over-reliant on motion controls and don't really give players other options. But I always believed the traditional controls was an option in ARMS, and after playing the test punch, it seems my concerns were completely alleviated, because the Pro Controller was the one I had the most precision with, and the motion controls weren't as precise.
I don't like motion controls. I'm someone who was really against Splatoon's motion controls at first, and then I tried just the analog sticks for aiming, then I was like, no, this doesn't feel good, I'm going back to motion controls for Splatoon aiming, and I think that is where that game controls best, is with the gamepad, with the motion controls. It'd be interesting to see what I think actually of Splatoon 2, because I never played the test fire for that.
I'm not against motion controls myself. I prefer the motion controls in Splatoon overall than traditional controls. But in the case of ARMS, it just gives you the complete control, which is what you should feel in a fighting game.
Yeah, so when I started using the Pro Controller, I started using Ninjara, and I was just dashing around and getting behind the enemy person and just kept grabbing them and throwing them. For me, Ninjara, I think, is the character that I stuck with the most, the character that I had the most success with, and I think that's purely down to the fact that I like having fast, nimble characters in these, you know, in fighting games in general. I don't really like playing the tank characters, and I hated Master Mummy. I sucked with him so much.
I'm, completely with you in the sense where I prefer agile characters, not just in fighting games, but to be honest, I'm more of a fan of agile characters in most genres. It's like, I prefer playing as the Scout in Team Fortress 2 because he's the fastest character of the bunch, and I prefer playing as, Toon Link or Sonic in Super Smash Bros. Because they're agile characters. So when it comes to ARMS, characters like Ribbon Girl, Ninjaro, Min Min, all just stuck with me, just like that. But Helix, Twintel, and Springman, even though they don't seem as agile, they still fared well with me.
The other character that I liked as well was Springman. I don't usually go for the basic average characters in these sort of games, but my favourite sort of three was definitely Ninjara, but I also liked Min Min, and I also liked Springman.
The only two characters I couldn't get the hang of, or at least in the test punch, was Mechanica and Master Mummy. Yeah,
I didn't mind Mechanica actually too much. I was alright with her because I liked gliding around and with the hover thing. But yeah, Master Mummy, I was so bad with him.
To be honest, I don't dislike playing as either of those two. It's just compared to the other characters, they're just the ones I'm not as good at. And Master Mummy, like you, I think he's my weakest character because of how slow his punches are. And also, if you play the basketball stage against Master Mummy, well, it's an easy win because he's so agile and Master Mummy's punches are so slow. You're gonna get those like throws in an instant. Like, I got like a few perfect games in basketball because I was against a Master Mummy player.
Yeah, I was a Master Mummy in a basketball game, and as much as I love the lobbies, it is a bit frustrating where it choose the stage like straight away sometimes, and literally I was Master Mummy and it put me the first thing straight into a hoops game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no. And I started playing it, and I got my ass handed to me because
it's a bit random how the timing works for how you come into games, because sometimes you go into a game in an instant, sometimes it takes like 30 seconds to get into one. Although when it comes to the online lobbies, I do love how on the circular display on a match, it shows shows what's happening in a match live. So if say the target-based match is happening, you see the points raise up whilst you're waiting in the lobby, and that's like really cool.
Yeah, I like that. The one thing that annoyed me about the hoops was, and I don't know if it was random or like I didn't feel like there was any control over it, but how annoying is it whenever you like hit the rim of the hoop?
Oh yeah, I've had a few instances where I missed the shot just because I like hit the side and then they fell off.
I got 2 in a row that did that, and it annoyed the fuck out of me. Pretty sure, unless someone else says in the comments, I'm pretty sure it's random, right? I feel like there's an 80% chance it feels like that I'll get them in the hoop. I don't know if it's the angle you are maybe with the character, like because obviously each character has a different animation of throwing them in the hoop. I don't know whether it's something to do with that.
Well, for the entire test punch, I was just playing as various characters to experiment. But when I played as this character, I was winning most matches, and that was Helix. And the other Guardian Fists, where it was like a dragon shield. Like, ever since I started using those, I just won most of my matches. And even though he may not be the most agile character compared to Ninjago or, like, Ribbon Girl, I think Helix was the one I was doing the best at. So, I guess if you had to say who my best character is from the test punches, I'd probably have to say Helix.
He was probably what I spent the least amount of time with, I think. But that was purely just because I was just choosing different characters and just didn't have enough time to get round to him. I did play with him. I do want to play more of this game, honestly. I guess my biggest problem with this game, or not biggest problem, I guess, my biggest concern is that the gameplay I enjoy, but I feel like that most fights always boil down to the same thing for me. This is from the same people who made Mario Kart 8 are making this game, and it shows in the customization, the way that you can customize 3 different slots, like you could do for your kart, where you could choose your wheels, your chassis, and the glider, and then the character itself doesn't really have that much of an impact except for light, medium, and heavy. And this feels similar to that in a way with these characters, where it's about the arms. Like the characters do have their own attributes. Like some will be more nimble, some will be slower or like have more HP. They obviously have their own unique abilities. Like Master Army can heal himself when guarding, which I think is the most stupid thing ever. The only time that ever comes in handy is if you're fighting against the 3-on-1 against the boss. The 2 people I would be on the team were like attacking him while I was to the side, healing myself, waiting for an opening. I feel like that works really well with Master Mummy. But in a 1-on-1 match, his ability of just holding, like just defending, blocking, to heal himself is just so stupid, because you can, especially with Ninja, the way that I countered that all the time was whenever someone would try to throw me, I just kept dodging to the side, and as soon as someone would throw their throw or the grab out, I would do it to them straight away. Try and do the grab move, you have no defense yourself.
The thing is that even though at first I was thinking, wow, this is such an OP move, the counters that I was performing was like either dodging the many times they were using it, or there were some times when my punches would completely disable it. So
there was more variety in the matches for me with the 2-on-2. I feel like the 1-on-1, I feel like just boiled down to the same thing of dodging, throwing, dodging, grabbing, and doing that same sort of thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I feel like the 2-on-2 matches, there's a lot more variety to it. Even if your teammate might not be that great, sometimes when I had a teammate that wasn't good, I still enjoyed myself because I felt like there was enough variety. Like one thing that I noticed, and didn't see many people pick up on this, if someone has grabbed your teammate or thrown them, punch them. Like you can just swap to that person instead of the person you were looking at, and just punch him or her while they're doing their throw move, and you can obviously get them out of that attack. That became, for me, so important in a 2-on-2 match, where the throws didn't feel as overpowered as they did in a 1-on-1.
And because you can break off their attacks just like that, it gives the matches, again, that kind of Mario Kart feel where no matches feel the same. Like, the 2-on-2 matches or the free-fall, 3 or 4 player ones. And, like, honestly, it was most like that completely sold me on the game, because if it was just 1-on-1 fighting, I would have been mildly interested in it, but when I saw like the freefall, well, because I'm not usually into fighting games, and because the freefall adds a bit of spice to the overall combat, I was looking forward to playing ARMS more than I did before.
Yeah, I'm the same, and I think that if it was just 1-on-1, the game, I don't think I'd buy it, but with all these different modes, there's the Grand Prix single player mode, there's the hoops, there's the volleyball, there's the target smash, there's all these different modes that I feel like that when you get bored of one thing, and I could imagine you could do all this on your own, you don't have to do them online, but you get like in-game coins that you can use, I guess, to buy other things. Like I feel like that there's going to be enough content in the final game for me to warrant a purchase at full price. That was the one concern I had, was whether I thought there'd be enough on the table for me to buy.
Even if one might think there's not much content at launch, there's still more characters, stages, and I think weapons to come. Just like what they did with Splatoon, when there was more stages and weapons to come, like in the months following its release.
All this is going to be free DLC essentially, so they're going to be keeping this game like the pun that everyone wants to use, does ARMS have legs? I feel like this will have legs to continue. And actually, I reckon, I don't think it'll be as successful as Splatoon worldwide, but I think it will still be, because of the way they're going to be supporting it in the future. I feel like the ARMS does have legs. I think what Mario Kart does for racers, what Splatoon does for shooters, is what ARMS is doing for fighters. It's this party game where they're easily accessible, but there is that hidden depth that I feel like it's going to keep people interested in the game.
Yeah.
This is a game that I think I will show my mum or something, like, hey, just try this, just like, the motion controls, because I remember my mum actually really liked Wii Boxing when that first came out.
Even though we already have Smash Bros for that, I think ARMS is more so for one-on-one fighters, or like traditional fighters where it's like like in a enclosed arena, where Smash Bros it was not really enclosed. It was you could just like run about freely and like attack.
We'll finish off with the main question, which I'm sure we actually know the answer to already, is are we going to be buying this day one?
I will be buying ARMS day one after the ARMS Direct and the test punches convinced me to do so.
I'm the same. I wanted to like ARMS as soon as this was announced, and as soon as I saw the more characters they announced, and I said that in that video that we did about the upcoming Switch games. My only concern was the amount of content and the motion controls, and whether the regular controls were going to feel like they were shoehorned in. I still think the game is mainly built around the motion controls, but I think that I still found the regular controller perfect to use. And for me, I'm going to be buying this game day one. People in the comments, let us know what you think of ARMS if you played the test punch. Did you enjoy it? Did it actually sell you on the game itself? And are you going to be buying this game day one? Because I'd actually genuinely like to know what buying it later down the line when it goes down in price, or are they not interested in this game whatsoever? So till next time, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Goodbye.